Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking into a massive aviation puzzle that seemed completely impossible to solve just a few years ago. We are breaking down how Russia took a passenger jet built almost entirely on Western technology and completely rebuilt its supply ecosystem from scratch under total isolation. You will see the engineering workarounds, the regulatory tricks, and how they managed to reverse engineer hundreds of complex parts to keep an entire fleet in the air. Make sure to watch all the way till the end because we are tracking this story right up to the current realities of 2026, so you don't want to miss a single step of this high-stakes transformation. The Superjet 100, which is currently marketed as the Yakovlev SJ-100, holds a distinctive position in the civil aviation sector of Russia. It was the first passenger aircraft to be fully designed and certified in Russia following the dissolution of the Soviet Union. However, the Superjet was developed with an eye toward international markets, in contrast to its predecessor, Soviet-era aircraft. The aircraft was initially developed to meet the certification standards of the European Union Aviation Safety Agency and the United States Federal Aviation Administration. During the aircraft's development, this strategy facilitated extensive collaboration with Western aerospace companies, and Boeing provided engineering and marketing consultancy. The aircraft's credibility in global markets was enhanced by this international approach. However, it also exposed it to a significant vulnerability. The Superjet's critical systems were procured from numerous foreign suppliers. Thales avionics, Safran landing gear, Liebherr flight control equipment, Parker hydraulic systems, Hamilton Sundstrand electrical power components, and Honeywell auxiliary power units were all utilized by the aircraft. The components, while meeting Western certification standards and enhancing aircraft capabilities, forced the fleet to rely on international supply chains and foreign manufacturers throughout its lifespan. Let's look at this simply for a second, because a plane is basically just a giant jigsaw puzzle of parts, and if you suddenly can't buy the pieces, you are in serious trouble. This precise vulnerability turned into an unprecedented challenge that was generated by sanctions. The situation underwent a significant transformation following the imposition of Western sanctions in 2022, which disrupted the collaboration between Russian aviation companies and foreign suppliers. In the spring of 2022, engineers at Yakovlev conducted an assessment to ascertain the repercussions. Their initial conclusion was highly concerning. The entire operational Superjet fleet could gradually become grounded by the end of 2024 if foreign support is not available. This was because essential components may reach maintenance limits or fail without replacement options. The airworthiness of the active Superjet fleet was one of the highest priorities for Russia's civil aviation sector. The aircraft comprised a substantial portion of the nation's regional aviation capacity. Their disappearance would have had a profound impact on domestic air transport during the development of newer import-substituted aircraft. Because the stakes were so incredibly high, sanctions created an unprecedented challenge that required immediate, aggressive action. Yakovlev initiated a comprehensive initiative in 2022 to establish a domestic support system that could sustain the aircraft without reliance on its original foreign suppliers, rather than replacing the fleet immediately. Okay, so let's hit pause right here and think about what this actually means in the real world. You can't just go to a local hardware store and ask for a commercial jet valve, right? The program's scope exceeded the mere production of spare parts. Here on Altitude Addicts, we closely look at how these massive operational hurdles play out. Russian specialists were required to replicate virtually every aspect of long-term aircraft support that had previously been provided by international companies. One significant area was the transfer of engineering responsibility for imported components to Russian design organizations. To understand malfunctions, recommend repairs, and provide ongoing engineering support, Engineers established protocols to monitor the technical condition of foreign-made systems. This had to be done even in the absence of original manufacturer's involvement. Simultaneously, operational documentation necessitated revisions to enable airlines to continue operating aircraft in accordance with the updated maintenance protocols. The identification of domestic suppliers who are capable of producing replacement parts and consumables was another critical task. If the necessary aviation standards are reached, it is feasible to manufacture numerous relatively straightforward components within Russia. These include seals, brackets, filters, connectors, hoses, and other consumable items. The program also concentrated on the development of a repair capability within Russia for imported equipment that was previously required to be transported abroad for maintenance. We're just getting into the core of how they bypassed international laws, and coming up next, we will look at the exact three-part engineering strategy used to copy the hardware, plus the real numbers on how many parts they successfully took over by 2026. So stick around. This massive industrial shift forced the creation of a new regulatory framework. Aviation maintenance is subject to stringent regulations, rendering engineering solutions alone insufficient. The Russian authorities were compelled to establish a new legal framework that would allow the continued operation of foreign-designed systems, as the original manufacturers were no longer providing technical support. New regulations permitted the sustained use of imported aircraft components without direct support from their original developers. The introduction of procedures was necessary to establish the process for domestically approving engineering modifications. It also required the allocation of responsibility for ongoing airworthiness management to Russian organizations. The use of Russian-manufactured replacement parts during repairs of Western-built aircraft and foreign-made aircraft components operating within Russia was also permitted by additional legislative changes that were implemented in 2025. The regulatory foundation necessary for long-term maintenance independence was established by these legal changes. Let's be real. Changing laws on paper is a whole lot easier than actually making precision aerospace parts work in a real metal aircraft. But this legal maneuvering paved the way for a rapid expansion of domestic engineering support. In the span of 4 years, the program experienced a rapid expansion in scope. Yakovlev executed engineering support agreements with nearly 170 Russian enterprises. These agreements encompassed various aircraft maintenance, manufacturing, engineering analysis, and component development. By mid-2026, the outcomes became increasingly apparent. Russian organizations did not officially endorse any of the imported systems that were installed on the SSJ 100 at the outset of 2022. Domestic engineering organizations had assumed responsibility for 358 imported systems and assemblies throughout the aircraft by June 2026. Maintenance capability also expanded substantially. Domestically, only 59 imported products were serviceable in early 2022. Here at Altitude Addicts, we always track these data points to see if the reality matches the official announcements. Russian companies had established maintenance procedures for 510 distinct aircraft components by June 2026, thereby decreasing their reliance on foreign repair facilities. These figures demonstrate the program's transition from an emergency response to a structured national support network. To manage this enormous workload, engineers had to rely on 3 different replacement strategies. Not all imported components could be replaced in the same manner. Consequently, Yakovlev categorized the work into 3 distinct categories according to its technical complexity. Pin-to-pin replacements were the most expeditious method. These are domestic components that are intended to replicate the functional characteristics, electrical interfaces, and physical dimensions of the imported originals. Certification and integration can be accomplished relatively rapidly due to their ability to be installed without requiring aircraft modifications. The second category includes the adaptation of components that were originally designed for the fully import-substituted SJ-100 program. Despite the fact that these systems are already manufactured in Russia, the integration of them into earlier SSJ-100 aircraft often necessitates minimal modifications to the aircraft systems, software, or circuitry. The most challenging category entails the creation of entirely new domestic developments that are designed to replace imported equipment that lacks an existing Russian equivalent. Typically, it takes between 2 and 4 years to design, test, certify, and manufacture such systems before they can be placed into operational service. We are entering the final, critical phase of this aviation breakdown, and coming up, we will reveal the long-term survival projections for this fleet, up to the year 2030, and the major engine problem they still haven't solved, so keep watching. A major part of this multi-layered strategy involved developing the capacity for domestic repair. The establishment of Russian repair facilities for foreign-made aircraft equipment is likely one of the most significant accomplishments. Major components that were approaching their overhaul limits or experiencing failures were routinely returned to their original manufacturers in Europe or North America prior to the implementation of sanctions. Airlines were at risk of losing valuable aircraft due to the fact that individual components could no longer be repaired once those channels disappeared. Yakovlev orchestrated the development of repair capability across numerous Russian enterprises to resolve this issue. The inspection, refurbishment, testing, and overhaul procedures for an increasing number of imported aircraft systems were gradually mastered by these facilities. Operators could enhance aircraft availability and decrease maintenance costs and turnaround times by restoring existing components to service within Russia, rather than relying solely on replacement parts. This brings us to a much improved long-term fleet outlook. The Superjet fleet's expected future has been significantly altered by the success of these initiatives. An interim assessment conducted at the end of 2023 indicated that approximately 2/3 of the current SSJ-100 aircraft could continue to operate until 2030, even in the absence of the Russian-French SAM-146 engine program. Yakovlev revised its projections as domestic engineering support, restorations, spare parts production, and maintenance capability continued to expand. According to the organization's most recent projections, approximately 85% of Superjet aircraft that were previously manufactured may continue to operate beyond 2030. Despite the fact that the imported SAM-146 engines continue to pose a significant challenge in maintaining the fleet, Russia is simultaneously working to introduce the domestically developed PD-8 engine for the SJ-100 and to enhance the maintenance support for aircraft that are still powered by the existing engines. While preparing the SJ-100, the current fleet is being supported. The support initiative for the legacy Superjet fleet is a valuable addition to Russia's overarching strategy of transitioning to the import-substituted SJ-100. Regional airlines, which continue to depend on the type of aircraft for domestic routes, must therefore ensure that they are maintained. Rather than postponing the replacement of the entire fleet, Russia has made substantial investments in the maintenance of existing aircraft and the gradual integration of the new generation SJ-100 aircraft into airline fleets. This dual-track strategy enables operators to maintain transportation capacity as domestic production of replacement aircraft continues to grow. As domestically produced components enter service, airlines are expected to reduce risks from sanctions and disrupted logistics while gaining greater operational independence from foreign suppliers. This entire effort has led to a fundamental shift in aircraft support. One of the most significant organizational changes in Russia's civil aviation sector following 2022 is the metamorphosis of the Superjet support system. The emergency response to the abrupt loss of Western suppliers has transformed into a nationwide engineering and maintenance network that involves hundreds of organizations. Instead of relying on original foreign manufacturers for engineering support, maintenance, repairs, and spare parts, Russian enterprises are now managing an increasing portion of these responsibilities domestically. Maintenance facilities now service components once repaired overseas. Engineering organizations manage hundreds of imported systems, and Russian manufacturers develop replacement parts from basic consumables to advanced aircraft systems. The Superjet fleet's future has been fundamentally altered by the progress made since 2022, although complete import substitution remains a long-term endeavor, and certain complex components continue to present technical challenges. A domestic ecosystem of designers, manufacturers, maintenance organizations, and repair facilities is increasingly supporting the aircraft that was previously considered significantly dependent on international suppliers. Thank you for watching this deep dive on the Altitude Addicts YouTube channel, and let us know in the comments if you think this independent network will survive the decade. We thank the people who have liked and shared the videos and subscribed to the channel. We also thank the people who have hyped the videos.